If you're not in control of your brain is in control of you.
Fear can actually be a stronger motivator than pleasure.
Most people don't even feel safe in their own body and their own mind. Most people are terrified.
Mike Tyson said, if you can make two punches sound like one, then you can knock somebody out.
The triangle of death is right here. So you want to hit guys like here. Chin, cheek, nose, mouth,
Yeah.
eyes. You want soft tissue, right?
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the A-Lister Show, where we bring you movers and shakers, people doing interesting things, and today's guest is no different. We have Coach Vidal here, who is a future BKFC bare-knuckle fighting champion. Got a fight coming up in a few weeks. He's also a hypnotherapist, life coach, mentor, and we got a lot of stuff to get into. So, without further ado, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me on the A-Lister show. I'm very excited. And ask me any questions, and you will definitely hear a response.
All right, cool. Well, first of all, let's get a little background on you, man. What do you tell us about what you do? What is who is Coach Vidal? What do you do these days?
So, Coach Vidal is someone that used hypnotherapy to change his life by changing his mind. And I became deeply in love with this process. And I developed my own process throughout the years. And I am very authentic about it. So, the strongest energy that a human being can generate within our body is authenticity. It is said to be 4,000 times stronger than love. And so I always tell people, when you are authentically expressing what you love, that's true love. And that's the strongest energies that you can synergize together and express. So, my methodology in hypnotherapy is very authentic. I don't necessarily read from any script. I don't really plan anything. I give my clients assignments, and then they send me back the answers to their assignments, and then I just read it like once, and then boom, I just go. And so it's very innovative what I do. It's very natural what I do, and it's extremely powerful because of that. Because the fact is this: authenticity is the strongest energy in the entire world. So now that I'm a hypnotherapist and I own my own business, Vital Visions Hypnotherapy, um, I use hypnotherapy as the basis of my life coaching. I work with business owners, I work with sales professionals, entrepreneurs, and professional athletes. Really, I work with anybody, but that's my niche. And so, if anybody is interested, you can find me on Instagram. I do absolute free 1 hour Zoom consultations so that you get to feel that this is, in fact, real.
Yeah. What is hypnotherapy? Isn't it like some techno babble like woo woo stuff, or what is hypnotherapy?
So, there's a very technical answer for this, and for the sake of the audience not falling asleep, I will just say this: hypnosis is the basis of hypnotherapy. Hypnosis means to be asleep, unaware, or in a trance. Now, you have your conscious mind. You are the consciousness, and you're only control of about 5 to 10% of your brain. 5 to 10% of your brain is your frontal lobe, your prefrontal cortex. Okay? The back of your brain is the unconscious mind. Okay? So, somewhere in the middle between consciousness and unconsciousness is subconsciousness. Okay? We use hypnosis to access the subconscious state where you're half awake, you can still focus. You're half asleep, you can relax. And so when you combine these two, you are super focused and super relaxed. You're in a state of flow. And when you're in this state, now you can unlearn and relearn what it is that you want to learn and let go of that which you don't want to know anymore. And so hypnotherapy is combining the power of hypnosis to take what you want consciously, like I want $1 million, or I want to win this championship, or I want to fix my relationship because the communication is terrible, but I love this person, and this person I know loves me, but I'm just not fitting, checking off the boxes, right? You can access this portion of your mind so that you can take what you want consciously and program it into your brain. Because remember, your brain's not you, your brain's a flesh computer. And everyone that is watching this has those two voices in your head. One is saying, I want to do this. And the other voice is saying, no, I don't want you to do that. And that other voice is your unconscious mind. And it is ruled by fear because your unconscious mind has one goal. Do you know what that goal is? What's the number one goal of the unconscious mind?
Keep you safe?
Survival. Bingo.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, what kind of things can people? So, from what I get from you, hypnosis is basically when you're in a state of hyper focus, but also very relaxed. And so
Exactly.
that's interesting. So it's something between the conscious and the unconscious, which is the subconscious, which is interesting. What kind of things can hypnosis help with?
Oh man. So science of neurologists and Harvard and Stanford and universities, they've proven, with these devices and just with the experimentation of hypnosis alone, hypnotherapy alone, that it takes just 6 sessions to produce a 93% cure rate of major traumas and phobias. Okay? A trauma could be seeing someone you love murdered. Okay? A trauma could be someone hurting you sexually or violently. A phobia could be, well, once time I fell off of a 2-story building and now I'm afraid of 2 inches, right?
Mhm.
Like, people have these traumas and these phobias dictate their entire lives. And so by eliminating these traumas and phobias, they have a clean slate. You mentioned the word safe, right?
Mhm.
Most people don't even feel safe in their own body and their own mind. Most people are terrified of their thoughts, and their thoughts create their emotions. And so their body is terrified of those emotions, but the body keeps the score. Hypnosis, in a way, disconnects you from not your body, but from that unsafety that your body remembers. It disconnects you from that fear that your body remembers. It disconnects you from the negative thoughts that your mind remembers. And it allows you in that moment to feel safe. And because you feel safe in that moment, you are relaxed. And I always tell everybody this: the trick here, triple C, trick, that I created is calm, is confident, confident is control. So if you want greater self control, so you can have greater results in your life, you must be confident. What is confident? Confident is self trust. And how do you gain self trust? You must be calm. You must feel safe.
Yeah. How do you hypnotize somebody? Like, what does that process look like? And how do you enter somebody's subconscious like that?
Super easy. I'm not going to hypnotize you to go to sleep right now, but if you want to feel peaceful, I can make you feel peaceful within 30 seconds.
Sure. Let's try it.
All right? So just close your eyes.
Okay.
Just take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your eyes. How do you feel?
I feel great. That was nice.
Bro, this is just one of my rapid inductions. It's what it's called, right? It's nothing compared to what I can actually do with you in a private session on an hour, right? So when we first started the very beginning, the breathing techniques, how did you feel?
Um, Curious. Um,
Curious.
you know, um, yeah, kind of, yeah, maybe that's the right word to use.
Perfect. And as you breathed more, how did you begin feeling?
A little more open, a little more
Would that
relaxed.
require you to be safe to be open and relaxed?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
And then once we got to the best thought about yourself, the self belief, the ruthless, the attacking, the domination, the success, how did you feel during that?
I got to feel as though I already was dominant and attacking. I got to imagine myself attacking and what that meant in my day to day life. And You know, it feels good to be on attack. It feels good to be ruthless. It feels good to be dominant.
Exactly. Now, everything that we do begins in our mind as thoughts. Everything. You got to pee, it's a thought, right? Knee jerk reaction, that is a rapid thought. Okay. So the point about this is we plan for life. And when we plan for life, people don't realize this. If you think a week from now that you're going to win a jujitsu tournament, right? You do jujitsu?
Yeah.
Okay. If you think you have a jujitsu tournament a week from now and you envision yourself winning the tournament, okay, and you envision exactly how you're going to do it, you start off holding your hand up, you have the gold medal, and you work your way backwards. You know, position for before submission, then you hit the submission, you win, right? You work your way backwards. Okay, what you're essentially doing is you're making the future become a memory.
Mm.
You're making a future moment become a past memory in your mind. And now, because your mind recognizes how to do this, your mind doesn't fight you anymore. It doesn't resist you anymore. Your mind allows you to relax, which then allows your body to relax. And now, when your body's relaxed and your mind's relaxed, you're also more focused. And when you're focused and relaxed, that is humanly how we learn faster. It's how we perform greater. Make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a three key component here I go by called HIP, HIP. Hypnotherapy is HYP, but HIP, hip, heal, improve, perform. For you to perform your best, you must improve. For you to improve your best, you must heal. These traumas and phobias that you mentioned earlier, if they still exist in the mind and the body, they are like the e-brake. You ever drive with the e-brake on?
Can't.
Yeah, you grind your gears, man. You
Yeah.
grind your brakes down. You take the e-brake off and you flow. And when you flow, that's how you grow.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Wow, I feel great. That's very nice. And what have you seen, like, as far as how people tend to react to this when you work with people?
I've literally worked with psychopaths, certified psychopaths. Okay. They're just about the only people that I won't like work on because they can easily find your address, right? But like I've done consultations with people that were legitimate psychopaths and no disrespect to them. Something happened in their lives and they they were diagnosed, you know what I mean? And I can't give out confidential information about anybody specific, which I won't. I would never do that on an ethical and legal basis. But um you just ask me that question one more time because I got really
No worries. I'm
animated.
just wondering about how, how people tend to, um, what kind of improvements they see in their lives, like what kind of
Okay,
effect that what you do has on them.
beautiful. So what I just did to you, I've done on like actual people with like major diagnoses. And believe it or not, they relax. Now, they might not relax as much as you can or the average person can, but they're able to relax and they wanted to join the program. But after they told me, you know, that they have that, I can't legally take anybody on in hypnotherapy that has those kind of diagnoses either. So let's go away from the extreme and go to like the average person, right? Um, Most people that are strong-minded think that hypnotherapy is it's spam, it's a scam, it's not real. People with strong minds are the easiest minds to coach. So once a person like yourself, you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, you are a business owner, you're a strong-minded individual, once you feel that safety, that calmness working with me, your mind and your body just begins to relax. Now, when you're asking me questions like what benefits does a person have in hypnotherapy? Well, if you're a business owner or you're a sales professional or you're an entrepreneur, you write your own checks. You don't have an hourly, you don't have a salary. You write your own checks. And so what happens is if you're stuck in your own way, if you're not as confident, if you're not as motivated, if you think you're not good enough, if you're experiencing imposter syndrome in any single way, do you think you're going to write bigger checks or smaller checks?
Bigger checks.
If you're in your own way,
Oh no, in your own way, then no. Sorry.
Exactly. Getting people out of their own way, they write bigger checks. For example, I made half my salary the first month. Literally, the first month I ever did hypnotherapy, had it done on me, I made half my salary in 1 month.
Hmm.
I made $34,000 straight commission in 1 month selling landscapes, designing and selling landscapes. And I had no design experience. It was my first month doing the job. So people are probably saying, well, how'd you make half your salary? Because the job I had prior to that was $70,000 a year. I made $34,000. So that's 1,000 off of a half. I get it. But you get my point, right? So,
Yeah, you were selling your time, and now that you are based off of your production, and because you were able to produce at a higher level, then you were able to basically make your half of your salary in a year, in a month.
yep. Now, let's get away from the business aspect. People can make way more money when they get out of their own damn way. It's easy. It's easy to make money when you get out of your own damn way. Let's go to performance in like sports, for example. Okay. I had a major knee surgery, reconstructive surgery. I hadn't trained for 9 months. Okay. So once I had my reconstructive knee surgery, that's when I began hypnotherapy because I had major depression, fueled by anxiety, fueled by the symptoms of ADHD that I had my whole life. And having ADHD, if somebody out there is diagnosed with ADHD, you know my struggles. You could be the friendliest person in the world. People will still fucking hate you because you're so overpowering. Your energy is just. My dad has crazy. My dad was never much of a dad, and I hate to say that because I don't like to hurt anybody's feelings, including my own dad's, who wasn't there for me, right? But I still don't want to hurt his feelings. Like it makes me want to cry saying it, honestly. Um, it's almost, and you know, my dad has really bad ADHD, and like, sometimes it was exciting, sometimes it was great to mesh with him, but like there are times where it's like there's no relax with this guy. Like the times when we'd want to relax, he'd just be like crazy hyper. And I have that in me. But I think ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, I think that it is a superpower once controlled properly.
Yeah.
So if you fuse ADHD, you fuse that with anxiety, you fuse that with paranoia. I had crazy paranoia growing up, and you fuse that with depression, you have a recipe for disaster. What kind of disaster? Suicide. Like I'm Mr. Advocate for anti-suicide. Why? Because uh, hypnotherapy saved me. I was on a 4 month waiting list to see a psychiatrist after telling them I was suicidally depressed. My leg was crippled, had the surgery, it was still messed up. I was in a bad marriage. I was only making $70,000 a year. And I was 30 years old, thinking to myself, I'm having a midlife crisis at 30 years old. This life is just not worth it. Like, at least the life I was living. And once I started working with a hypnotherapist, that all changed within a month. Like within a month. Actually, within the first 2 weeks, I could not feel anxiety or depression if I tried.
Hmm.
Seriously. And I had everyone and everything testing me. And I just felt like I was Super Mario running around collecting coins. Like all these negative situations that were coming at me were me collecting coins, and it was actually generating more wealth for me and greater health, which health is wealth, right? So my success was I made way more money. And then when it came to performing, I moved to Huntington Beach, California from Temecula, California. Closer to you when I was living in Temecula, right? I was training with Dan Henderson, Sean Strickland, Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey, Smiling Sam, was actually the one that got me involved in hypnotherapy because he
Hmm.
was doing it. And when I moved to Orange County, California, this was uh this was after my knee surgery. I hadn't trained for 9 months. Guess who the very first person I trained with
Oh,
after 9 months of not training at all? Guess who it was?
no idea.
Fabricio Verdum.
Okay.
I walked into King's MMA. He was wrestling with Coach Harmon and a 170-pound guy. The guy looked like he was 20 or 30 pounds lighter than me. And I said, Coach Harmon, I said, Coach, and he came over and I said, Mr. Harmon, if it's okay with y'all, I would like to join the session and work with Verdum because I'm heavier than that guy he's working with, and I'm a very good wrestler. And I feel like since this is wrestling practice, that I could give him some really good work. He looked at me as if like he was impressed and confused at the same time. Like, really? This dude's coming in here calling out for a doom? I wasn't calling him out. I wanted to wrestle him. Walked over. Blah, 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 blah. Walks back over to me. Sure. I have a knee brace on. Didn't train in 9 months after having reconstructive surgery. At the end of that session, Verdum goes, I have a video of it. Verdum is talking to me about me. And he's like, Cody is a very strong. He has got good wrestling. I want him in my camp for this next fight. He's like, thank you so much, brother. Dude, this was the heavyweight champion of the world. He beat Fedor, my favorite fighter ever. And there I was getting praises from him. That doesn't just happen, bro. It was the hypnotherapy that made me that certain of who I am.
The point about ADHD is really interesting too. I want to touch on that. They told me I had it my whole life, and today I say I don't believe in it. Not that I don't believe that it exists, but I'm just resentful that they call it a disorder. Attention deficit
Bingo.
hyperactivity disorder. How do you call it a disorder? Like,
I tell you what I call it.
What do ADHD people can't? What can't they do that other people can do? It's like it's a personality type, and you have to learn how to deal with it. But calling it a disorder, and it really allows a lot of people to give them a way out. I'm disordered. No, no, no. I have a disorder. I can't. I'm gonna show up late because I'm disordered. I have a disorder. No, no. I'm not gonna do my work today. I have a disorder. My house is a mess, but they told me that it's just because I have this disorder, so I'm good. If I don't take this pill, then I'm not gonna be able to focus today. So, I'm not gonna take my pill, so I don't have homework to do. But it's okay. I have a disorder. So, but yeah, it's a personality type, and what we have to do is learn how to. It's a power just like anything else. You have to learn how to harness it. Now you can go off and it can lead you towards people who are ADHD are more likely to do drugs. They're more likely to face different addictions and and struggle and have other coinciding factors. But also you look at people that are hyper successful as a result. So it's just a power like anything else. And how do we like tame that power and like aim it towards something that's going to be productive? I think that's important.
Well, I call ADHD as a fighter, I call ADHD aggressive, deadly, hyperactive destroyer.
I like it. Aggressive, hyperactive, deadly destroyer.
Aggressive, deadly, hyperactive destroyer.
Aggressive,
Yeah.
deadly, hyperactive destroyer. I like it. I like it. That's good.
Yeah. So that's what I tell myself. That's my mantra. I am aggressive. I am deadly. I am hyperactive. I am a destroyer.
I love it. I love it. That's good. That's good. I want to talk about another time too. There's a few things I want to get into, but one thing I want to mention because you are a hypnotherapist is I was actually hypnotized on one of these like circus people. Like
Oh,
it sounds wild, but like we were one of these is at the fair, the county fair, and I am like I'm very skeptical person. Like if I don't see something with my own eyes, I won't believe it. And my wife very skeptical too. So I wasn't with her at the time, but um, and I was like, I got up on the stage and they hypnotized everybody. And I'm like, this is like, BS or whatever. And they called me and I was one of the people. And sure enough, like we got hypnotized on stage. And that was the first time I'm like, dang, there's something to this. And it's just really interesting because I would never have believed it if I hadn't have gone through it myself and experienced it. And it's an interesting experience.
definitely, man. Look, hypnosis is real and everybody's hypnotized on a daily basis. You know, because I know what I know, and I'm not, okay, I am no better than anybody else in the aspect that we're all children of God in my, my belief. Okay? Sorry I didn't have this out. Okay, so now that I have that out, um, people think about hypnosis and they think about hypnotherapy, they think it's evil. Like nowhere in this
Mm.
Bible does it say that hypnosis is bad. If anything, if you do deep enough prayer, you enter hypnosis. If you do deep enough meditation, which the Bible talks to meditate all the time, but no preacher is going to tell you meditate. It says meditate on my word all the time. If you do deep enough meditation, you enter hypnosis. If you watch TV or a movie and you're glued to it, you're in hypnosis. If you're driving the same route every single day and you could literally close your eyes knowing when the next turn is, you're in hypnosis. You're in a state of flow.
Hmm. Yeah.
God wants you to be in a state of flow. God wants you to be calm and relaxed. God wants you to be focused. In fact, God says, take every thought captive. Hypnotherapy helps you take every thought captive. It helps you choose your emotions. It helps you choose your actions. It helps you choose your results. Because guess what? If you're not in control of your brain is in control of you. And your brain is afraid. And all throughout this Bible, it says, do not fear. So, if anything, hypnosis is the actual spiritual energy you tap into so that you can be godlier.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think of other examples too. Like I've seen, I hate to bring up the most like cliche, examples of this, but who is that guy? Howie Mandel. There's an example. There's a very like a viral clip up
ADHD.
there. Yeah. Does he have? Yeah, yeah.
He
But
does, yeah.
have you seen this clip of Howie Mandel?
I haven't. What is it?
Oh, so Howie Mandel is a germaphobe. Very, very
Bad.
strong germaphobe. Yeah,
Yep.
he won't shake anybody. He hasn't shaken anyone's hand in like 10 years. Right? Everyone knows this about him. And this is on live TV on America's Got Talent. They bring this guy invites Howie Mandel up on stage, and he hypnotizes him, and he like starts shaking everyone's hand. Howie Mandel, and everyone just like amazed and confused, and afterwards he actually got a little bit upset. He's like, "You made me do that? Like I would never do that." But so there could be an ethical question in there because on one hand, he did something. Uh, some kind of fear was unlocked and he did something he may not have normally done, or that in his mind he still has, you know, uh, wondering whether or not this is safe. Like his opinion is that it's not safe to shake hands because of whatever trauma he has. But it was impossible to deny it happened, and he literally shook everyone's hand on stage when he hasn't shaken anyone's hand in like 10 years. So this stuff's real. This is real, and it's kind of wild what you can unlock with when you let go of that fear and you feel safe and you're in that flow state.
Exactly. It's all about feeling safe, man. It's like the unconscious mind wants you to be safe, but the unconscious mind promotes fear to be safe.
Hmm.
Hypnosis wants you to be safe, but it promotes relaxation. It promotes belief to be safe.
Yeah.
You could be safe, you could use fear to be safe, or you could use faith to be safe. I always tell people this: fear fuels failure, faith fuels fortune. You want failure? You want fortune. Which one?
Hmm. Is there something to be said about using fear in your favor?
Yes, that would be called pain motivation. Most people are pain motivated, because most people have fear-based belief systems that they're allowing to run their minds and their lives.
Hmm. Interesting.
So if you want to talk about pain motivation and pleasure motivation, I can give you some really good examples and relate it to your life.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, you ever make a large amount of money like pretty quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just say you made $20,000 pretty quickly, right? And it's the first time you ever made $20,000 that fast, right? And your bills, let's say your bills are only $5,000 a month in total. You take that 5,000 for the bills, you blow the other $15,000 before the next 30 days. Now you're scrambling to pay next month's bills. And you think to yourself, how did I do that? How did I do that? Now you're scared. Now you're in pain. Now you're motivated by pain to go ahead and make more money. Now you're trying to make $20,000 again really fast, but because you're scared, you're not making that money the way you made it when you were first calm. So now you generate this new cycle of fear, and it actually spirals out of control to where now you're losing more money. Pain motivation. Another form of pain motivation would be, I'm going to pertain this to my personal life and be funny about it. Would be like, for example, I always hated doing the dishes. I learned to like doing the dishes because I put music on. When I put music on, I realized all that speedy mind I have that's like, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and I can't stay present. Like I felt like I couldn't stay present in the moment to do the dishes. I put music on, and music relaxes my mind,
Hmm.
and then I could do the dishes. Now, pain motivation would be, I gotta do the dishes right now before my woman comes home, because when she comes home, she's gonna see the dishes aren't done. She's gonna feel offended and think I don't love her, and then she's gonna be like, why am I even with this guy? Right? Like,
Right.
you're probably thinking, you have a woman like that, dude. Women are sensitive and they want to be loved and they want to have the best love possible. So if the dishes are part of that deal, they're part of that deal, right?
Right.
So the point about this is I learned to enjoy doing the dishes more than I've ever done before, so that I actually do it in a timely manner instead of rushing it right before she comes home. And now I'm in a state of freaking urgency, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
Pain
Yeah.
motivation.
Yeah. Pain is strong. I heard this is an analogy one time. Actually, it was a study that was done and in animals. So they have a rat in a cage and they tie a string to his tail and they put some cheese and they starve the rat, right, for a few days. And then they put some cheese in front of the rat and they measure the amount of force that the rat runs towards the cheese. Okay. And then at the same time, the next day, whatever, they feed the rat. Okay. The next day, they bring a cat in on the other side, right? And they measure the amount of force of this rat running from the cat. And which one do you feel like would have a greater force?
The pain motivation because the unconscious mind is trying to survive.
Yeah, yeah. So running away from the cat, running away from death, running away from fear had a stronger motivator in terms of measured by force than running towards food when they were starving. So that's kind of like how we operate in our day-to-day lives. So a lot of times fear can actually be a stronger motivator than pleasure. And some
Now
people don't think about
imagine
that.
Now imagine you're in a situation like that where you're the mouse and the cat death is all around you. And instead of focusing on the death, you're only focused on life. You're only focused on what you like. And imagine it's because you use hypnotherapy to reprogram your mind to focus on what you like. How much more success could you have in a situation of life or death? You could have a lot more success, right?
Yeah,
Now
definitely.
imagine you take that same individual and they're not in an environment where it's life or death. How much more success could they then have? How much more happiness, personal happiness, could they then have? Because there's peace.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It's all perspective.
Speaking of peace, let's talk a little bit about war. Let's
Do
talk
it.
about BKFC.
Let's do it.
How did you get involved in that? For those of you that don't know, BKFC, one of the most brutal fight organizations on the planet. These guys knuckle up, bare knuckles, hop into a circle, and fight each other in front of the world. Prize fighters, bare knuckle, bloody crap, nasty shit. How did you get involved in that?
So how did I get involved in bare knuckle fighting?
Yeah.
Okay, so before I ever even fought amateur MMA when I was a teenager, I was probably like I've had over people call them street fights, but I'm very very detailed. If it didn't happen in a street, it's not a street fight. I call it a real fight or a pure fight, right? Not a sport fight. A fight to fight, sport fighting, sport fighting.
Right.
So I had fought over like 30 people and I won every single one of them. And it was easy for me. And I have pretty big lunch boxes with very big, sharp, pointy, rock solid knuckles, right? And like, even if the guy was bigger than me, even if he was a better wrestler than me, you hit him once or twice, solid, it's over,
Yeah.
right? Like in jujitsu, I love jujitsu. I love jujitsu. I love wrestling. But jujitsu and wrestling, there's no striking. But if you know how to control the human body, you can be in the guard of a black belt. And if you know how to drop some headbutts on that person while controlling their biceps, it's gonna rock them at least. And if it rocks them, they're not gonna be able to throw up a triangle, an armbar, kimura. They're not gonna be able to sweep as easily. And then you put some hands on them with no gloves on, and it changes the game, right? You know, the brain. Once the brain starts to shut off, the whole body follows. So there's no disrespect to grappling. There's no disrespect to jujitsu or wrestling. I love it. Everything matters in a fight. But there is this pure power that I became passionate about with not having any gloves on. So when I did transition to amateur MMA, there were stupid rules. Like in New Jersey at the time, you couldn't ground and pound.
Wow.
What? Like I took down an opponent. I was beating the crap out of him. I took him down, and I had him down 7 times in one round, and I couldn't punch him in the face. It's like, well, this is really
Mm.
retarded. And then on top of that, they had the bubble gloves, the bubble MMA gloves, and I'm like, what? Right? So that was my experience in the amateur MMA for in New Jersey. And then I fought Ohio and Louisiana and Texas, and the rules were way better there. Um, but at the end of the day, punching without gloves on was like way better for me because it just caused way more damage.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, okay, I beat all these people pretty easily. A lot of these people aren't like trained fighters like the guys I'm training with now, right? And so it didn't feel as good. So what felt better, what felt more glorious, what felt more dominant would be fighting people that could kill me, right? And so sparring individuals with gloves on, fighting individuals with gloves on that are really good fighters. Um, there's pros and cons to the gloves. You could hit harder with the gloves on because you're not going to break your hand.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like between my ability to box well, my ability to punch well, my aggressiveness, and my ability to also take punches and my ability to avoid punches, I just felt like this was perfect for me. And so it's not just bare knuckle boxing that I'm very interested in. It's bare knuckle MMA as well.
Hmm.
And so focusing back on your question is like, how did I get involved in it? I'm from Pennsylvania. And Dave Feldman is from Pennsylvania. He's the owner of BKFC. And Dave Feldman, I trained with Carmelo Moreira, who was a big time wrestler and UFC fighter at one point, heavyweight. And he ran an American top team division in Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania. He was supposed to have me fight on Dave Feldman's MMA promotion in Philadelphia. So I got to meet Dave Feldman and I got to meet Nate Shook. Nate Shook's the matchmaker. Dave Feldman's the owner of BKFC. They didn't have BKFC back then, but they were growing BKFC for a long time. And I heard that they were. And so I wanted in at a very young age. I wanted in back in like 2015. So I would message Dave and I would message Nate Shook and I'd be like, hey guys, when you guys are ready, when you guys have this promotion, hire me. I will fight and I will be your champion. And like, they had like everybody coming at them. They have more people coming at them now. But honestly, man, I manifested it. I would manifest it, just pure obsession alone. And people don't realize it. You don't need to necessarily believe in yourself to make an opportunity come your way. You just need to want it. And so basically, um, my first fight was April 27th of 2024. And before I got that fight, I kid you not, I was telling people out loud, saying this out loud, I will be the first bare knuckle boxer in California history to fight in California history. I
Hmm.
continued to say that for over a year. 3 weeks before April 27th, Nate Shook contacts me and says, hey, bud, sorry for the delay. I finally have you a fight that's against this person. What do you think? So let's do it. It's on. I just so happened to be the very first fight of the night. I just so happened to be the very first person to walk to the ring that night, and I just so happened to be the very first bare knuckle boxer in California history to walk to a sanctioned fight that night.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
And so, yeah, so I manifested it, man.
That's what's up. What's that like? I mean, I haven't been in a ton of fights, in like real fights as you call them, but I've been in a few, and I know that. In fact, I had to punch someone on the street like 2 months ago. Not something that I'm necessarily
In
proud of.
California, that's scary, man. Lawyers suck.
I know, I know. I'll tell you about it real quick. It's not nothing like crazy, not a crazy thing, but I'm walking down the boardwalk on the beach in San Diego, and it was probably like 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and I'm just getting my steps in, and then I feel something hit my face. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I looked down. I didn't know what it was at first. What the hell? And this guy, probably like 2 feet from me, like throws his hands up, little like a homeless guy with like I don't know, homeless guy. He's like, ah, and just out of instinct, I just like pop, hit him, and then like I step back to kind of get my bearings, and I realized what's wild is like nobody saw it. It was the wildest thing. And talk about hypnosis, like everyone was in there. I'm like, somebody had to have seen that, right? I just punched this guy in the face. Like somebody had to have seen that, right? I looked around, like everyone's walking. Nobody was even looking at me, which was so weird. So I just kind of like I looked down. What had hit me in the face was a tortilla. The guy threw a quesadilla or a tortilla at my face. I looked down and it's but yeah, and then I just kind of walked off, and it was like the weirdest thing. But what really kind of hit me about that interaction was my hand hurt for like 2 weeks after. He kind of like ducked his head and I hit the top of his skull. But
Yeah.
dude, the knuckles are so weak. I don't know. Maybe my knuckles are weak, but like, how do you like? What's that like? I mean, with the knuckles and hitting skulls and shit.
Man, you gotta know exactly how to punch and where to punch. So Bobby Gunn was the one that they basically Dave Feldman was managing Bobby Gunn. Bobby Gunn is an undefeated bare knuckle boxer. He had over 150 fights that he won. He hadn't lost one, but the ones that were like official, meaning like they were like set up, not just street fights, but they're actually set up, was 73 of them. So he went 73-0 as a bare knuckle boxer. Think about that.
Mm,
Bobby
wow.
Gunn's like my height, my size. He goes like this. You know, he's actually Tyson Fury's cousin.
Okay.
Tyson Fury. So he's actually Tyson Fury. This is the legitimate gypsy, born in
Mm.
Canada, lives in New Jersey. Um, he's like Cody, my boy, Cody, my boy. Like I love Bobby, but Bobby Gunn was one of the creators of BKFC. At least that's what Bobby says, right? I don't know what Dave thinks about that, but Dave, if you're watching this and I'm giving wrong information, I at least know that you manage Bobby. That's it, right? So with that said, Bobby Gunn, he he taught me a lot. He taught me how to prepare your fists. He taught me how to punch properly. But the original person that taught me how to punch was in a book, Jeet Kune Do, Dao Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee. Okay, okay. Jeet Kune Do means the art of the intercepting fist. Okay, most people turn over because that's a boxer's punch with gloves on.
Right.
You turn over to cut, right? You want to land with these middle knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
This middle knuckle here. Problem is, most people land here and they break it. Okay.
Mm.
Bobby taught me the triangle of death is right here. He said, you want to hit guys like here, chin, cheek, nose, mouth,
Yeah.
eyes.
Oof.
Don't hit him here. Don't even hit him on the side of their face. Don't hit him even. Don't even try to hit him on the side of the jaw. It's bone. You want soft tissue, right?
Yeah.
So you have three types of fists. Okay, you have vertical, horizontal, inverted. The worst one for bare knuckle is horizontal. The one everybody knows how to do. The one everybody's been conditioned by traditional boxing to do. Okay? So when you want to hit somebody at a close range, you hit them with a vertical fist. Why? These three knuckles, middle, ring, and pinky knuckle, are all in alignment. Everything's in
Mm-hmm.
alignment there. You punch in and up. Boom! In and up. Okay? Doing that, you're not going to break your knuckles.
Mm.
Okay? You're not going to break your wrist. It's in alignment. Now, when you do punch in boxing, box or regular punch horizontal, you want to have your wrist bent slightly. Why? Because it actually aligns your whole arm. And you want to land at the middle knuckle. Okay? Ting. This right here, though, if you hit with this knuckle's going to break this way because there's not really much behind that knuckle. Most of the reinforcement is behind your middle knuckle. Your whole hand, wrist, forearm, upper
Right.
arm, shoulder, back, etc. Right? Inverting the fist actually gives you the most length. So if you want to punch from a distance, you want to shoot it straight like a vertical fist, shoot it straight, and then turn it all the way down. Fedor Emelianenko always did this. The Russians do this a lot. Okay, you're landing with these three knuckles, boom, and it's all in alignment. And the great part about it is you're torquing more. There's more torque to this punch because the shoulder comes up and naturally protects your face. Whereas this, there's less protection, and this, there's like no protection. See that?
Right.
So you're firing those types of punches, the vertical fist and the inverted fist, and you're landing on your soft tissue, you're winning the fight.
Mm. That's awesome. I like the vertical punch method. That sounds pretty cool. Would you even? What is one of the best ways to win a street fight or a real fight? Let's call it for self defense. After that moment, I'm wondering, like, next time I gotta throw an elbow or something. I don't know. Like, do you punch people? Do you kick people? Do you take them down? Like, what do you? How do you like? Keep yourself safe in a real life situation.
There were situations and fights where I had to use wrestling or grappling, and it worked very well. But it typically is one or two shots, right? So what I knew from a young age was I started training self-defense first. And most fights start in natural stance. Natural stance is when you're standing face to face with somebody. You're not pivoted in a fighting stance, right? And so we would train from natural stance. We would train hands up, and when your hands are up, your hands are in your peripheral vision. So number one, nobody really told me this, but because I could see my hands, because my hands are here in my peripheral vision, what it does is it opens up your focus.
Mm.
Whereas if my hands were down, my focus is more narrow. If my hands are at my peripheral vision, okay, could you stop scratching me, dog? My hands, she's like literally putting her paws on my foot and pressing down, like, hey, look at me. She's cute. So because my hands are here, I'm not.
Your hands are
Hello.
here. What's up, puppy?
Because my hands are at
Oh.
my peripheral vision, right?
Oh.
It widens my focus.
Ah.
And now I can then see more. Because I can see more, my mind is now anticipating more. So putting your hands up also makes it look like you're defensive. Like, hey, I'm passive, right? But when you do that, you take one step back and you disguise your feet. You disguise the fact that now you're in fighting position. Hands are still here, not like this, right? So I take that one step back. My hands are up. It's like, hey, hey, hey. Now, if anybody was to throw anything, because most people are going to come with wide hooks, you can block, you can shield, right? You can drop down. Point about it is you're ready, right?
Yeah.
And many confrontations that I was in, people were disrespecting me or they were threatening me. Number one rule in life is if you're going to threaten somebody, you must be ready for war, like that. If you're the aggressor, you must be ready for war. And if you're going to be the aggressor, you better just hit the person first. Plain and simple. Like, there is no, like, somebody's not going to come in my face and scare me and I'm not going to do anything about it. No, like, you better hit me or I'm going to hit you. And so growing up, I had that trained in me where as soon as somebody was in my face within kicking distance, which is like 3 or 4 feet, if somebody was stepping into the danger zone, my immediate reaction was to go in passive aggressive, and if it didn't change, go aggressive. Meaning if they didn't go passive, I go aggressive. And so I take that step back, hands come up, passive aggressive. Now they have the option. Do they become passive? Do they become aggressive? If they become aggressive with their mouth or if they even flinch, I'm going to hit them with a left hook, a straight right, or I'm going to hit them with a straight right and a left hook.
Mm.
Either way, their head is doing two different movements. If it's a straight right, their head's going to snap up. Then the left hook is going to hit them in the chin. They're out.
Yeah.
If it's the left hook, their head goes this way. And now the straight right hand is on alignment with their head. Same thing, knockout, right? So it's not the first punch that knocks the person out necessarily. It's the punch they don't see coming because the first punch turned their head. And remember what I
Interesting.
just told you about focus. The more you see, the more you can defend. But if a punch hits you and now you're not seeing, the one that hits you next, the one that you're not seeing is the one that knocks you out.
Interesting. That's an interesting thing. Mike Tyson said, if you can make two punches sound like one, then you can knock somebody out. Which I really
We
like.
call them one beats. One beats. My
Oh,
trainer Tyler Smith, we call it one beat.
I love it. That's cool. Yeah, that's what the thing too is like instinctually you can't be you can't just throw one punch. I thought about that after. I was like, I haven't been in a self defense situation in a long time, but if that was like a real dangerous situation, I probably would have failed because like and you got to hit him twice. You got to hit him twice. You can't just hit somebody one time and you got to be ready to throw 1-2 combo. Like if you're gonna strike somebody, you got to throw a 2-piece in a soda. You know.
Exactly. And an elbow would be an extremely
Elbow. I
formidable
would have
attack,
been. I
right?
should have done an elbow because my feet and it was my pinky knuckle here, because you know what with the gloves on, that's actually like your power line. Maybe this is what I was taught. I read a book about how to do throw power and like it's actually your power line actually comes through your pinky, because through here you have like a little bit of give, but through here there's like your whole power line starts through your pinky, and so if you have gloves on, then that's like where some of the power comes in. But with no gloves, I don't know. Have you heard about that? About being your power line from the outside,
Power
kind of
line with pinky?
like
No.
from this side.
No, not pinky. But it would kind of make sense though, because if I'm feeling my hand, the only other meatier area than my thumb, which you're not striking with the thumb, would be right there.
Yeah, it's kind of just because what happens is like the power, like there's a power line that goes straight up through the, through here, whereas like there's like give in your, give in this wrist here. Anyway, um, and so with gloves, a lot of times I was kind of like hitting that way, but with no gloves on, it's something else to be considered. But yeah, an elbow would have been also a really good choice, an elbow. That way there's, but that's also a very, very close range weapon, which you got to be careful of because you really want to be somebody
Stabbings.
that close. Yeah, or even like a side kick to the body, which is kind of nice too.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about kicking in a real life situation?
I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've kicked people in the head when they were unconscious. And I was a teenager. Guys. So a lot
Yeah.
different now that I'm 36. But
Yeah.
the mentality when you're in a real fight, it's life or death. So it's kill. Like it's
Yeah.
just I don't like, dude. I was suicidal my whole life. Like I had depression my whole life. Like I didn't want to be alive. So if somebody fucked with me, it was like, okay, we're both gonna die right now. But so it's really hard to fight. It's really hard to beat somebody who is skilled and doesn't care if they die.
Ready to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you got a fight coming up. Tell us about that. Do you know who your opponent is?
March 21st, I'm fighting Brandon Connolly, who is in the Guinness Book of World Records for bench press. He did 225 pounds of bench press for 60 reps. The most I ever did was 30
Oh,
reps. I thought I was awesome because I actually did more than anybody in the NFL Combine that year, including all those giant linemen. But he did it for 60 reps. He did double. So that's pretty impressive in terms of
damn.
powerlifting. Um,
How much do you weigh? How much did you weigh at the time when you hit that?
Probably like 220, 225.
Okay. Damn, that's wild.
Yeah. And he probably weighed like 250, 260 when he did it, but still, like, he's the in terms of bench press, he has the best bench press of 225 in the whole world for repetitions.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's his record and what's your record like?
I'm 1-1. The first fight I was winning, and I got stopped to a cut,
Mm,
but I was winning pretty dominantly in the at least in the first round. I did injure my hand. I did injure my hand because I was spamming right hands, and I learned really quickly. So I don't look at that like a loss because it was number one, it was a cut, but number two, I learned a lot of lessons there. Because had I just won knocking the guy out, I would have went into the next fight bombing super hard and hurt my hand anyway,
right, right.
which doesn't help out with longevity, right?
And then him.
So I'm
What's
1-1, and he's 2-0 in BKFC.
okay? All right. Cool, man. So what are you expecting for this upcoming fight? Anything that you're looking to? You have some different kind of game plan, or what are you thinking? How you gonna approach this next fight, mentality wise, or anything you want to talk about?
All wars based on deception.
Hmm,
The less I talk, the less they know.
there you go.
I'm a big talker, but when it comes to fighting,
There you go. There you go.
but I will tell you this, I already won. Sun Tzu said all war is based on deception. Bruce Lee paraphrased Sun Tzu and said, if you have two opponents who are equal in size, equal in strength, and equal in skill, he who masters the feint wins. Whereas the feint is the deception,
Hmm.
it's the fake, right? So Sun Tzu also said that every war is won before your feet ever touch the battlefield. Where is it won? It's won in here. Spell one backwards, WON. One spelled
Now,
backwards is right now. So you as a competitor, you as a fighter, you as a winner, you must realize that you already won. And that's the power of your imagination, the power of visualization. By visualizing it over and over and over again, and then practicing it and training over and over and over again, it lets the mind know this is easier and easier and easier and makes you feel more and more safe each time. Not safe in a cocky way, but safe like, okay, I know there are only a couple punches that could come at me: a jab, a cross, a hook, a rear hook, a lead uppercut, a rear uppercut, an overhand, and then a lead overhand. Those are the only punches that you can legally throw. So I prepare for those. Huh? Movement of the feet, movement of the arms, movement of the hands, movement of the head, okay? And proper punching placement. So I've already won, and I say that with certainty. I don't say that with um, negativity of any kind. I don't say that with pride. I don't even like the word pride. I've already won, and I'm already champion. And once I have physically manifested it, once I've physically created that, we'll then revert back to this video, and we'll have the belt here, and we'll do another episode, and I'll tell you
Yes,
that, hey,
sir.
I told you so.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And what about your training? Anything that you're doing in training this time around? If you don't want to talk about it, that's cool too. But what's your training like this time around? What are you doing to prepare?
I virtually train with just one person.
Oh, really?
The person, he holds my mitts, he spars me, he does my strength and conditioning, and he's my best friend.
Hmm.
And that's Tyler Smith. You know what's interesting about us?
Hmm.
We fought each other already.
In like a competitive fashion?
Yeah, we fought in MMA.
Awesome. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy how sometimes like your competitors can become your friends for sure?
Hey, brother, I always say this. As a fighter, I feel more safe in a room full of killers than I do in a room full of cowards.
Yeah.
Because killers, they're not near as insecure as the people who are cowards. And people who are cowards will lie to you, they will cheat you, and they will steal from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they will not have your back. You ever see the movie A Bronx Tale?
Remind me, which one is that? I think so.
Watch it tonight with your lady. If you want to watch a movie
Okay.
with your lady tonight on a Saturday night, watch A Bronx Tale. It's it's intimate, but it's also very wise. It's a gangster, like real gangsters. Okay, it takes place in New York, obviously in the Bronx. One of my ladies' favorite movies. One of my favorite movies, right? And the whole basis of the movie is ethics versus Machiavellian ethics. Ethics meaning traditional ethics like love, and then Machiavellian ethics, which is just self love, right? And so the question is this: Is it better to be feared or to be loved? Is it better to be feared or to be loved? I know the answer to that, but watch the
Um,
movie and you'll
yeah.
get your own perspective of it.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out. I'll let you know. Awesome. Cool. We're wrapping it up, man. This has been an awesome conversation. I really enjoyed it. Pretty dynamic. What else would you like to tell people? Anything else that you'd like to, any other message you'd like to get out there?
Man, so let's just go back to the roots. If you are depressed, if you are anxious, if you struggle with disorders, if you struggle mentally, physically, spiritually, contact me. I have different programs, different packages, and different ways to help everyone. Okay. Um, Anyone can find hypnosis tracks online. Hypnosis tracks are going to help you, but hypnosis tracks are not going to heal you. That's what requires a personal trainer, a personal hypnotherapist. I can help you heal. I can help you improve, and I can help you perform greater than ever before. Okay, and I offer a free 1 hour consultation to give you a sample of that, so that you realize this is real, and we can then work forward with each other. We could work more. It typically takes 2 months or less for me to transform a person into a better version of themselves. So if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a sales professional or professional athlete, you want to work with me. You really want to work with me, even though you might not realize it. You really want to work with me because I will help you become more calm. I will help you become more confident. I'll help you become more controlled. And when you're in control of yourself, you're in control of your thoughts, you're in control of your emotions, you're in control of your actions, you're in control of your results. And those good results that you have develop its own belief system, which then reinforces those positive thoughts, positive emotions, and positive actions. And who doesn't want to think more positively, feel more positively, and do more positively? Who doesn't want to be more successful? So if you want to become healthier, if you want to become wealthier, if you want to become happier than ever before, follow me, vital.visions. That's V as in Victor, I, D as in David, D as in dominant, A-L, V as in Victor, I, D as in David, A-L, period, visions, plural, visions. So vital.visions on Instagram. Find me on there, message me, look through look through my posts. I have so many testimonials on there. Watch my testimonials. These are legitimate people. Okay, these are legitimate business owners and athletes. Um, Pat Miletich, for example. You know Pat Miletich,
Uh, Not off the top of my head.
first 170-pound champion in UFC ever,
Okay.
Hall of Famer. He coached Matt Hughes, Robbie Lawler. Tim Sylvia, and Jens Pulver all became UFC champs.
Awesome.
Okay. So he's one of my clients, right? So I got testimonials from him. So the point about all this is if you're skeptical, great. Skepticism is the heart of science, and we don't have answers if we don't ask questions. So ask me your questions.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Let's keep in touch, and until next time, this has been the A-Lister Show. Let's you tap in with Vidal, Coach Vidal here, and yeah, thank you for joining us today. Until next time, bye bye.
Bye bye.